Okay, looks like we're going to get started here. It is week 1, a new mod this term here. Welcome, everyone. I am April Biss. You can call me April by my first name. And we're going to kind of go over introductions here in a second. We got a little bit of a later start. I had to push this back a half hour due to my schedule today. So I appreciate you guys being very flexible with me. Sometimes that happens. But yeah, we do meet on Mondays at 2:30, typically Mountain Time. So if you're confused about time zones and all that good stuff, there is a really nice breakdown, and I'll show you here in the course. If you go to the live session area in your classroom, down here is where it'll explain to you when the live sessions are going to be held. So ours are Monday. Find your time zone. So I'm Eastern, so I would typically start at 2:30, although we're starting at 3 o'clock today because of something that I didn't expect, so I had to change my schedule a little bit. But typically we start at 2:30 p.m. If you're Eastern time, Mountain time would be 12:30, and so on and so forth. I do have 2 sections of this class. We have multi-sessions, which are not mandatory. They're basically, you know, if you guys need extra help, you want to go over anything, feedback, anything that you want to pop in for, I am going to be available these times, although I have 2 sections. So this just happens to be section 1. So if you're in my section 1 class, that will be held on Thursdays, the multi-sessions for you guys. And here are the times that will be open for Thursday. If you're my section 2 class, you will be meeting on Tuesday, so tomorrow. And I believe that starts, let me go back here because I can't remember. Section 2. Tuesday, okay, it's very early. If you're Eastern time like me, we start at 8. If you're Mountain time, it's 6 a.m. So if you're section 2, that's the Tuesday multi-sessions. And like I said, they're not mandatory. That's just, you know, for you guys to get extra help if you need extra guidance, extra feedback, anything that you want to pop in for to ask a question, I will be in there for those 2 hours. Okay, before we go forward too, I mean, I'm sure you guys know most of this information here. You know, you have your daily checkpoints here, your Shark academic resources here, live session. This is where the recordings will be as well. So if you click here, after today's lecture, I will post a link right here under week 1. So make sure you watch this first one. It's an hour and 31 minutes. Watch this one first, and then you're going to watch the lecture 2, which is today's lecture, and the link will be posted here probably within the hour that I stopped this recording. It takes a little while to upload. And then so on and so forth throughout the week. So make sure you're checking in with those in this forum. Course information just explains about this course, what it's all about, the objectives, learning objectives, you know, teaching strategy, a little roadmap. This is kind of nice, little typical outline here of what we're going to be going over. It just kind of breaks it down so that you kind of have a general idea of what we're going to be covering in a nice little time frame there. Library resources, Student Success Center if you need extra help, readings and videos. The help desk, computer support, career preparation, about the instructor. This is about me. If you want to click on here, this is where you can actually find my contact information. I prefer you email me first. I have my iPhone on all the time, so I try to get back to you as soon as possible. This is my actual cell phone number, so that's why I say I prefer you to email me first, but you know, definitely don't hesitate to call if you want to talk to me either. So I will be there. And that's my Skype name. Just a little bit about me if you want to read, you know, kind of what I'm all about. Check me out there. Course content list is also available here. So, you know, you can kind of scroll through the list easy here. It's kind of like a roadmap, kind of like a nice way to get to certain pages here. And let's see, what else? I think that's pretty much it. Other than the syllabus, you know, it's nice to kind of look at the syllabus and get reacquainted with us again. I know sometimes we get caught up in each mod and the same thing over and over again, but there's some important information in here, course information, general guidelines. There's late policy in here, information. So you kind of can get refreshed on that, late submission policy, just kind of an FYI. You have about a week grace period to turn in your work after the deadline's due with a 20% deduction in grade. If it's past that week grace period, it will not be accepted, okay? Also, discussions, if they're past the due date, they won't be credited as well, so just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, so let's go back to my slides here and get started with introductions and go from there. All right. So this is DES114, Print Production Color Theory. We will be going over all kinds of different color information that's important. We will be kind of doing a review of color theory in the beginning, and then we'll kind of blend it into how color is important and how you need to be aware of this when you're applying it color scheme-wise and also print production-wise for a final launching of a brand identity system. All right, so here's the agenda for week 1. Welcome and introductions that we're going to do right now. Announcements, syllabus, grading, Canvas. So look at the course. We kind of just did that. We're going to get right into the color wheel. So this is the first project that you guys will be doing. It's a fun project. It's a color wheel that you'll be doing in Illustrator, and we'll go over a little demo of that. Additive and subtractive color models we'll talk about, and the 4 color relationships. Again, kind of like a little refresher: complementary, triadic, analogous, and split complementary. What that all means and why we need to know it. Okay, just a little bit about me. Again, my name is April Biss. You can call me April. I'm from Pittsburgh, PA originally, and that's where I'm currently living now, although I've been living in other states. I've lived in Akron, Ohio for 6 years, and then I've moved to Tampa, Florida for 7 years, and moved back up after that. So here I am. I've been here for at least 3 years now. Back to the cold weather. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in graphic design at La Roche College. It's a little private college in Pittsburgh. I did 4 years on ground there. And then I kind of just worked for many, many years in different advertising agencies, publication companies. I also did my own freelancing eventually. So I have a lot of experience in regards to advertising agencies, with advertising agencies as well as publication companies. I started to teach down in Tampa when I lived down there part-time, and I taught graphic design classes on ground, and I kind of fell in love with it. And it was my first time teaching, so it pushed me to get my master's degree in graphic design. So about 2 years after I started teaching at the college in Tampa, I got accepted in the SCAD, called Savannah College of Art and Design. And so I went to school there for my master's. And I always like to tell all my students this because I think it's important. I did my whole master degree online. I was an online student. And I like to tell you guys that because that's what you guys are. So I can relate to what you guys are going through. I've been there. I've been on the other side. I've been a student. So I know kind of what you guys are dealing with, the pros and cons of being an online student. So, but, and, you know, it's not for everybody, but definitely is nice for people who are very busy, have different things going on, and they can't physically go into a classroom. So I did my whole master's degree online, and it was incredible. I loved the experience, and started to teach for independence soon after I graduated. And I've been teaching here for a little over 5 years. And I love it. I love giving back to you guys. I love the inspiration that you guys give me, and it kind of pushes me forward. And I just keep learning from you guys and learning from the actual process of teaching. So it's great. I have about 18 years experience working in the design industry, 5+ years teaching in higher ed. And I have my own design studio here in my house that I do some freelance work for. It's nice because I can travel with that when I move. I have a 3-year-old daughter, Amelia May. She's the light of my life, and I love her so much. I have one dog named Santino. He's actually not living with me right now, but hopefully soon. He is such a cutie, a little 9-pound Chiweenie, which is a cross between a wiener dog and a Chihuahua. On my Behance website, this is just some work that I've put on there, recent work you guys can check out if you want to. It's always nice to see what your instructors are doing. But that's just a little bit about me. If you guys want to, well, not want to, but I want you guys to introduce yourselves in the introduction area of the discussion forum for week 1. You can post a picture of you, maybe your family, or a picture of your fur babies. Whatever you want to share with us. I've had students share their portfolios, maybe a side job. Maybe they're selling like certain crafty things or design things through Etsy, and they shared their link to their shop. I've had all kinds of really neat things. It's neat to learn about what you guys do, who you're all about, because we're not meeting in a classroom that's a physical classroom. So this is kind of where we get to mingle and get to know each other. And make those connections that will be very, very helpful when you go forward and graduate. Those connections are key. Okay, so in your introduction, say who you are, where you're living, maybe where you're from, what your major is, experience with the graphics application, and career goals. What's your dreams? What's your goals going forward? You might want to put that into your introduction there. All right, we already kind of discussed the due dates. This is some announcements here. All assignments and assessments are due by Saturday by midnight Mountain Time for full credit. Communication regarding late work is key in this course. This will save you missed points. Week 4 assignments cannot be turned in late. That's kind of going forward there. Your original discussion post is due by Wednesday Mountain Time, so you need to have 2 responses to student discussions are due by Saturday Mountain Time. You must post on at least 2 different days, and late discussion posts will not be accepted past the Saturday deadline for the week. So some important things to go over there. All right, so what are the course objectives for this class? Let's go over this quickly here. Upon successful completion of this course, the student will be able to, number 1, identify all parts of the color wheel and articulate common color relationships. That's more of the color theory part of it. Number 2, differentiate between spot and process color application and appropriate spot and color usage. Number 3, successfully work with PMS colors. If you don't know what PMS colors means, that's Pantone Matching System. That's what that's short for. And define their unique features. Number 4, develop a personal branded print bid sheet for use on freelance print design jobs. Demonstrate mastery of creating packaged print-ready InDesign files, and demonstrate mastery of basic InDesign layout skills, including paragraph styles, baseline grid, typography, and image frames. Okay, just, I really want all of you to succeed in this course. When you succeed, I feel really, really good because I know I did my job. So let's make me feel real good and make you feel real good. And let's succeed in this course. Read the announcements. That's really important because I post everything on there that is pertinent to the class, including links, reminders, scheduling. I actually just posted there kind of reminding you guys about the live lecture today and talking about the time change. So it's really important that you check in and make sure that you're reading the announcements. And this is really how I communicate with you for the most part. I can definitely communicate with you in other ways, but this is where I do it generally as a mass communication tool. Participate in discussions each week. Really important. Those 60 points really add up towards the end of the mod term. So participate. Get those points in there. Complete assignments on time. Again, another thing that adds up. Even if you need to take advantage of that grace period a week after the due date, at least you're getting some points in there. It's a 20% deduction, but at least you're getting points in there and trying. Number 4, make sure you're doing the daily checkpoints every day. That's an extra 5 points added to your score, possibly. It's kind of like extra credit in a way. And plus you learn so many extra things from that. It's kind of like a nice little resource. Attend the live sessions. This would be nice. I know everybody sometimes can't, and I understand that. But at least watch the live session. Recording is, I would say, should be mandatory because it's the meat and potatoes behind what we do. I will be doing demonstrations on how to do assignments in each live lecture, so it will save a lot of frustration, a lot of time for you guys if you're stuck. And typically when you come to me and ask me a question, I always say, well, did you watch the live lecture? Because a lot of the time students will say they did, but they don't. So make sure you're doing that. Number 6, come to the multi-session if you need help. That's, again, what I was just talking about earlier. It's not mandatory, but you definitely can take advantage of that. And number 7, communication is key. You know, we're all human. No one's perfect. No one has the perfect life. I understand stresses in life, especially with the holidays coming up. As long as you're keeping me in the loop, I can try to work with you and try to be flexible with you. But if you wait too long, it's kind of like, well, you should have told me about this sooner. I can't do too much for you. So if you're having issues or if something's going on, just, you know, communicate with me. Tell me what's going on. Keep me in the loop. All right. This is for, okay, so this is for section 2 as far as the multi-sessions go. So I should add the multi-sessions for section 1 are going to be on Thursday at 12 o'clock. And that's all posted in your course. So just kind of an FYI. But the live sessions for both sections are today. And typically they start again at 12:30 to 2:30 Mountain Time, but we're starting a half hour a little later today. So it's kind of a little different. And again, just a little refresher of what multi-sessions are for. And this gives you kind of some extra time during the week to get assignments done. Also, don't forget any outside help needed. If I'm not available or cannot help you on the days that you need help, there's also external help. The Student Success Center is open. They have tutoring available. No appointment is necessary. And then also we have a learning coach assigned to this class, and her schedule and contact information are listed in the announcements. Okay. So let's talk about the color wheel. We're actually going to be doing, you guys are going to be creating a color wheel in Illustrator for assignment 1. So let's talk about what the color wheel is, go over some of the color dialogue, terminology, and we'll go forward into the next demo here. So the color wheel or color circle is the basic tool for combining colors. And the first circular color diagram was designed by Sir Isaac Newton in 1666, a long time ago. The color wheel is designed so that virtually any colors you pick from it will look good together. Over the years, many variations of the basic design have been made, but the most common version is a wheel of 12 colors based on the RYB, or artistic color model. Traditionally, there are a number of color combinations that are considered especially pleasing. These are called color harmonies or color chords, and they consist of 2 or more colors with a fixed relation in the color wheel. So there's different types of color wheel. I mean, there's so many different variations that you could do. Primary, secondary, and tertiary colors we'll discuss here. So in the RYB or subtractive color model, the primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. The 3 secondary colors, green, orange, and purple, are created by mixing 2 primary colors. And another 6 tertiary colors are created by mixing primary and secondary colors. So you have the primary colors. So in theory, the primary colors are the root of every other hue imaginable. The primary pigments used in the manufacture of paint come from the pure source element of that hue. There are no other pigments blended in to alter the formula. So think of the 3 primaries as the parents in the family of colors. In paint pigments, pure yellow, pure red, and pure blue are the only hues that can't be created by mixing any other colors together. Printer inks and digital primaries are referred to as yellow, magenta, and cyan. And then you have your secondary colors, and you can see a little visual on the right there showing the secondary colors. When you combine any 2 of the pure primary hues, You get 3 new mixtures called secondary colors. So think of the 3 secondaries as the children in the family of colors. So you have yellow plus blank equals orange. And then you have blank plus blank. Okay, so we'll talk about this. So basically you have yellow and red, right, make orange. And then the yellow and blue make green. All right, so tertiary colors, when you mix a primary and its nearest secondary on the basic color wheel, you create 6 new mixtures called tertiary colors. Think of the 6 tertiary colors as the grandchildren in the family of colors, since their genetic makeup combines a primary and secondary color. So for instance, yellow and orange together make yellow-orange. Red and orange together make red-orange, and so on and so forth. So red-violet, blue-green, and yellow-green. Those are all the tertiary colors. Then you have additive color. Let's talk about what additive color means. So the additive color system involves light emitted directly from a source before an object reflects the light. The additive reproduction process mixes various amounts of red, green, and blue light to produce other colors. Combining one of these additive primary colors with another produces the additive secondary colors, cyan, magenta, yellow. Combining all 3 primary colors produces white. So television and computer monitors create color using the primary colors of light. Each pixel on a monitor screen starts out as black. When the red, green, and blue phosphors of a pixel are illuminated simultaneously, that pixel becomes white. This phenomenon is called additive color. So to illustrate additive color, imagine 3 spotlights, 1 red, 1 green, and 1 blue, focused from the back of an ice arena on skaters in an ice show. Where the blue and green spotlights overlap, the color cyan is produced. Where the blue and red spotlights overlap, the color magenta is produced. Where the red and green spotlights overlap, the color yellow is produced. When added together, red, green, and blue lights produce what we perceive as white light. That's kind of neat. As mentioned before, television screens and computer monitors are examples of systems that use additive color. Thousands of red, green, and blue phosphor dots make up the images on video monitors. The phosphor dots emit light when activated electronically, and it is the combination of different intensities of red, green, and blue phosphor dots that produces all of the colors on a video monitor. Because the dots are so small and close together, we do not see them individually, but see the colors formed by the mixture of light. Colors often vary from one monitor to another. This is not new information to anyone who has visited an electronics store with various brands of televisions on display. Also, colors on monitors change over time. Currently, there are no color standards for the phosphors used in manufacturing monitors for the graphic arts industry. And that's why it's so hard to kind of do a color check and a color proof on your screen with a client, because you might send him, especially if you send a PDF. PDFs are horrible for checking color. That should only be for other purposes. You can show them, you can show them what the project looks like and get the okay there. But as far as the color goes, you should not proof through PDF. But like, for instance, if you send any type of file to your client, they see it on their screen, they might not see the same red as you see on your screen, and that's why it's a little difficult. But there's ways around that as designers work forward with the printer, at least, to get it as close as possible to what the final color will be. Okay, so we talked about additive color. Let's talk about subtractive color. So photographs, magazines, and other objects of nature, such as an apple, create color by subtracting or absorbing certain wavelengths of color while reflecting other wavelengths back to the viewer. This phenomenon is called subtractive color. So a red apple is a good example of subtractive color. The apple really has no color. It has no light energy of its own. It merely reflects the wavelengths of white light that cause us to see red and absorbs most of the other wavelengths, which evokes the sensation of red. The viewer or detector can be the human eye, film in a camera, or light sensing instrument. The subtractive color system involves colorants and reflective light. Subtractive color starts with an object, often a substrate such as paper or canvas, that reflects light and uses colorants such as pigments or dyes to subtract portions of the white light, illuminating an object to produce other colors. If an object reflects all the white light back to the viewer, it appears white. If an object absorbs or subtracts all light and illuminating it, no light is reflected back to the viewer and it appears black. It is a subtractive process that allows everyday objects around us to show color. So down here it says an 1877 color photo by Louis Ducos du Harron, a French pioneer of color photography. The overlapping subtractive yellow, cyan, and red magenta image elements can be seen clearly along the edges of the image. You can see the kind of ran over, a little smudging of it, but that's kind of what makes this whole photograph the colors that it is. Color paintings, color photography, and all color printing processes use subtractive process to reproduce color. In these cases, the reflective substrate is canvas, painting, or paper, photographs, prints, which is usually white. Printing presses use color inks that act as filters and subtract portions of the white light, striking the image on paper to produce other colors. Printing inks are transparent, which allows light to pass through to and reflect off of the paper base. It is the paper that reflects any unabsorbed light back to the viewer. The offset printing process uses cyan, magenta, and yellow, CMY, process color inks, and a fourth ink is black. The black printing ink is designated the letter K to avoid confusion with the letter B for blue. So that's why it's K, if you're wondering. Overprinting one transparent printing ink with another produces the subtractive secondary color red, blue, green, and blue. All right, so let's get into all the color schemes here. You have complementary colors. And what are complementary colors? Well, here's a good example on the right here. Visually, you can see them on the bottom and indicated on the color wheel. So colors that are opposite of each other on the color wheel are considered to be complementary colors. So for example, red and green are complementary. The high contrast of complementary colors creates a vibrant look, especially when used at full saturation. These color scheme must be managed well so it's not jarring to the eye. Complementary colors are tricky to use in large doses, but work well when you want something to stand out. And complementary colors are really bad for text. It makes it really kind of hard to read because of the whole, how they're a little hard. They're too vibrant, high contrast. Makes it hard to read. So this is very difficult to read. You can understand that, right? Kind of avoid that if that's the case. You have triad colors. So triadic color schemes uses colors that are evenly spaced around the color wheel. You'll see an example to the right there. They tend to be quite vibrant, even if you use pale or unsaturated versions of your hues. To use triadic harmony successfully, the colors should be carefully balanced. Let one color dominate and use the other two for accent colors. So here it's purple, orange, and green. You have analogous colors, and they're basically the color scheme that uses colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. They usually match well and create serene and comfortable designs. This color scheme are often found in nature and are harmonious and pleasing to the eye. Make sure you have enough contrast when choosing an analogous color scheme. Choose one color to dominate, a second to support, the third is used along with black or white as an accent. So you can see the example here with the blue, and then goes into blue, green, green. Then you have your split complementary colors, and this is a variation of the complementary color scheme in addition to the base color. It uses the two colors adjacent to its complement. This color scheme has the same strong visual contrast as the complementary color scheme, but has less tension. The split complementary color scheme is often a good choice for beginners because it's difficult to mess up. It's like pink, orange, and green here. Okay, at this point, let's go ahead and look at your assignment 1. Oh, actually, we'll look at your assignment 1, and then we'll look at your discussion after this. And we might take a little break before we get into the demo here. Okay, so your assignment 1, let's go to the actual classroom assignments. We have all the information there. Okay, this is worth 120 points. So the learning objectives covered, you're going to differentiate between additive and subtractive color models, define primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, identify the following color schemes: complementary, triadic, analogous, split complementary, monochromatic, define tints, tones, and shades of color. So you're going to read through the background here. I'm not going to read that for you. You can watch this video, 5-minute video. And then it gives you a prompt. So it says, for this assignment, you'll be creating a color wheel and then applying your understanding of some common color schemes to it. There will be there will be 4 color wheels total, each demonstrating an instance where one of the following occurs. So you're going to have 1 showing complementary colors, 1 triadic, 1 analogous, and 1 split complementary. You're going to create your assignment in Illustrator. Document size will be 10 inches by 11 inches, so 4 artboards total. Create a color wheel on the first artboard utilizing the bright color swatches. Swatches options panel, open swatch libraries. Color properties bright for the primary and secondary colors. Utilize Illustrator's blend tool to create the tertiary colors as shown in the tutorial. So we can definitely check this out here in a second. You can be straightforward with this using circles in a traditional circular pattern, or more creative by changing up the shapes and layout, but you must make the correct order. Make sure your colors are in order: red, red, orange, orange, yellow, orange, for instance, blah, blah, blah. This will ensure that your color schemes work properly. As long as the color relationships are in the above order and are easy to identify, have fun with this. Duplicate your color wheel to the other 3 artboards. You're going to indicate 1 color scheme per artboard on each board using lines or something similar to show the relationship. You only need to show 1 instance of each relationship on each artboard. You're going to export your 4 artboards as a PDF once you're done, and then you're going to name it as such. And don't forget to save your native file for future revisions. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. We'll listen to it, and then we'll go forward.
Hi everybody, this is Heidi, and this quick tip is on blending colors in Illustrator. The first technique I'm going to show you involves creating your artwork with your 2 colors. So we've got a blue and a turquoise, as well as however many steps in between you want to blend. So this will create 5 different steps of gradation between our blue and our turquoise. You'll then select all of your pieces, edit colors, blend vertically. Since our artwork is set up vertically, we need to blend vertically. Now, had our artwork been set up horizontally, we would have done the same thing. We would have just chosen edit, colors, blend horizontally. Now there's another way to do this using the blend tool. And all that requires you to do is to select 2 colors. They don't have to have any steps in between them. You can define that in the menu for the blend. So you select your 2 colors, object, blend, make, and then object, blend, blend options allows you then to manipulate how many steps are in between the 2 colors. So if you did 5, then it would mirror the first one you made. If you wanted to have fewer, you could do that, or if you wanted more, you could also do that. So this allows you to create colors that are in between each of these. So if you were doing some artwork and you had a blue and a turquoise and you wanted to color something a mid-tone of those, you could blend them and use this as a color. You could also use it to create a gradient stripe to fill a product, such as this purse that we've done here. So you can see it's a great way to grab colors that are in between two colors or to create a gradation stripe or other motif. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, so that was kind of interesting. Definitely a different technique there. So you can definitely try to do that with your 12, I say 12 step, but 12 step color wheel. So go ahead and check that out. The assignment instructions are important. Make sure you're hitting upon all of these in Illustrator. And I'm going to be doing a demo here. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and then I'll do a demo, a step-by-step demo of how I would approach it on my end. You don't have to copy what I do, but you can kind of play around with it and see kind of what style that you want. I'll show you some past examples as well, and then we'll go forward with your discussion. We'll talk about your discussion. All right, so I'm going to meet you guys back here in about 5 minutes. I'm going to take a little break here, and we'll go forward. Okay, looks like our 5 minutes is up here. Let's go ahead and start with the demo. I'm going to open up Illustrator. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to show you how you kind of get started if you want to do something similar, although I would advise you to kind of play around with this too in your own way. Okay, so the instructions say that you create a new document in Illustrator, so go File, New, and this is for assignment 1, by the way. And you're going to do 10 inches by 11 inches and just do one artboard for now. RGB colors fine. Create. And this is what you have. Okay, so you can do this any way that you want. Just make sure you have the 12 steps in terms of the color. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take the ellipse tool here in the toolbar, and I'm going to hold down the shift key, and I'm going to make this big circle here, holding down the shift key, just a big round circle. And then I'm going to take the circle again, I'm going to do a little one, a little smaller one here. And I'm going to align it so that it's aligned center right on this line. Make sure that your smart guides are checked, so go under View, Smart Guides. This will help you align things as you go forward. Okay. So now that we have that going on, what we need to do, I'm going to have this circle kind of go all the way around in a circle around this big circle 12 times. So we're going to select the smaller circle, and we're going to choose the Rotate tool. Over here, it's like a little arrow going around. Then we're going to hold the Option key down and click over here on the actual circle. And when we do that, we want to make sure the angle is set at 30 degrees in order to get 12 steps in your circle, in your color wheel. You want to hit Copy after that. And then what you're going to do, oops, here we go. Let's try this again. I'm going to set it up here on the top part. Oops. Yeah, this isn't going to work here. Hold on 1 second, guys. See if I'm actually doing this right. Let me make this no fill here. Align this so it's centered. Okay, I'm going to select both of these, and then I'm going to go up to my Align. Okay, so we got something going on here where we have to actually align center here. Oops. Give me 1 second to figure this out. This is a little tricky sometimes. This was working before, now it's not working for me. Of course, right? Always happens that way. It's going to go around in those steps. Okay. Let me start this over again. I'm going to do a circle. What we want to do is, there's a step in here I must be missing here. And let me do another big circle here. Oh, I know what I'm missing. Sorry, guys. All right, so we have to make this shape an actual symbol. That's where I'm missing at. So go up to Window and go up to, or go down to Symbols. My apologies. I was trying to figure out why that wasn't working. And just drag this right into your Symbols palette. And then make sure your external type is a graphic and click OK. Okay, totally missed that step. Sorry, guys. Okay, now at this point, we're going to select the Rotate tool, hold down the Option key, and we're going to choose Copy. Oops. Of course I did that. Oops. Let's try it again. Okay, it's going to go into these little, which you can do. That's kind of neat, but it's a little hard to step this out. So we're going to go back to the original here. We're going to make sure that this is the symbol. We're going to drag this over here. Put it right on here. Okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to make this a little smaller. I think I got that a little bit too big. And we're going to align this like this. So it's not, it's aligned, but it's not quite on the center there. Rotate, copy again. It's not doing it. Sorry, guys. I don't know what the heck's going on here. It was working a minute ago, and now it's giving me problems. Okay, this is what I need to do. So when I hold down the Alt key, I'm just kind of dragging this down to the middle part. Okay. So when you hold down your Alt Option key with the Rotate tool, drag that down from the middle to the middle of the center of the circle. And then that will give you a copy, and then you just hit Command D, and you can hit many times until it goes all the way around. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's how you do it. Okay, let me go over that again because I think that's a little confusing for some of you because I started kind of in a weird way. Let me trash this. Okay, so we're going to do a circle. And it doesn't have to have a fill or anything. We're going to do another circle, just smaller. And we're going to place this kind of right here on the top so you can center align these. Select the small circle, open up your symbols, turn that in, choose the graphic. Got somebody who logged in here. Welcome. We're going over your assignment 1. Give me 1 second here. I was kind of reviewing this demo here. And then once you're done with making it a symbol, you're going to select the Rotate tool and hold the Alt Option key down from the middle of that symbol down to the very middle of your big circle. Just make sure your smart guides are on so you know where that's going. And then you're going to hit, you're going to put 30 degrees in the angle, hit Preview, and then Copy. And now all you need to do is hit Command D over and over again until it goes all the way around your circle. And that's your 12-step color wheel. So you can actually delete the circle in the middle, and there you go. You have your 12-step color wheel. All right, so I will save this before I go any further here. All right, it's not giving me the option to save this. Okay, save name here. And this would be assignment 1 and your first and last name. I'm just put my last name. Okay. Now we're going to try to do the whole spectrum in that video that I showed earlier that's actually provided in your assignment 1, you can do the spectrum of colors. So you're going to take your rectangle tool, and over on your art side part of your artboard, so your, I forget what this is called, the side here, we'll just call it the side. We're going to do a little longer rectangle shape using your square tool, and then alt drag this shape down to the bottom so you have a duplicate shape. All right, so you have 2, and you're going to choose, you're going to actually create 4 of these. So we're actually going to do, sorry, 2 more of these. And then you can align them once you kind of get them ready to go. Just select all of them, go to your align, and if you don't have align palette up, just go up to window and align. And you can choose your distribute objects, and you want to choose vertical distribute center. Okay. Once you're done, you're creating these 4, and it's kind of hard to see. Let me create a new artboard just so you guys can see. You're going to have a total of 4 artboards anyway. So let me create it, just a new one, just do a new one, and then I'm going to put this over here so you can at least see the squares here. You couldn't really see it on the dark background. I could probably change the background, but this is kind of easier. Okay, so you're going to change the second block. So this one, you're going to select the second block, you're going to double click in your fill. So the color picker comes up, and you're going to go into where it says CMYK, and you're going to put these numbers in: 0 for C, 100 for M, 0 for Y, which is yellow, and 0 for black, and click OK. Oh wait, this is the second color block. Did I do that right? Let me see. 0. Okay, this should be the top one. So let's change that one again. So this should be, the top one should be 0, 100, 0, 0. This can actually be more red. I would maybe push it up to being a little bit more red. So maybe do 0, 100, 100, 0. We'll start with that. The second one will be, double click on that fill, 0, 0, 100, 0. So you got yellow. The third block will be 100, 0, 0, 0. You could probably make this even more blue. So maybe let's try 90, 80, 0, 0. And then the last one, okay, let me see if I got this right. It's like 2. Okay, the last one again will be what I believe is red. I think it's the same one as the top one. So that one I think we did. Let's see what the colors were again. 0, 99, or 0, 100, 100, 0. And then we're just going to blend these. I'm going to take the stroke off, so this black stroke is no longer there. Okay, so select the first 2 colors on top, so this one, and shift select this one, the first 2 colors. And then go up to Object on your menu bar, and you want to choose Blend Options. Okay. And then what you want to do is specify your steps. And you want to make sure when you do the specified steps, you want to do 3 steps. Okay? And then what you're going to do, and this is kind of a weird thing, is you're like, okay, what happened? It doesn't show anything until you do this next step, okay? So go back up to Object on your menu bar, go back to Blend, and you're going to do Make. And that's going to make the blend from the red to the yellow. And these are the colors you're going to put in your color wheel. That's why I'm making you guys do this. Okay? So you're going to repeat that. You're going to go, you have to ungroup this first because it groups it. So what you're going to do is go up to, you're going to go up to, I think it's expand actually. Yes, because you can't ungroup it. So select that first grouping of blends, go up to Object and hit Expand. Click OK. And now you can select the grouping and go ungroup so that you can grab this yellow one and shift select the blue one so you can blend these. So you're just going to repeat that. Go up to Object, Blend, Blending Options, Specified Steps 3, click OK. Back up to Object, Blend, Make. And there's your in-between colors here. Go up to Object, Expand, click OK. Go back up to Object, Ungroup. Select the blue, shift select the red, and repeat the same thing we just did. Blend Options, Specified Steps 3, Object, Blend, Make, Object, Expand, Object, Ungroup. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This one can be thrown out because it's a duplicate of this one. So really this is the 12th step. So now what you can do is use this as your guide for your colors here. So let's start with this first one. We'll select that first circle. And before we do anything, we need to make these not symbols anymore because they're symbols. So we're going to go up to Object, Select All. We're going to rasterize these. Okay, so then click OK. Oh, not rasterize. What am I doing? We need to break the symbols. I'll go up to symbols again. Break link to symbol. So you want to go to your symbols palette, select all, break link to symbol. Okay, so now you can actually go in and fill this. So select that first circle on the top, take your eyedropper tool, and select that first color there, and so on and so forth. So it's an easy way to get, the color scheme that you need for each of your 12 steps of your color wheel. You might need to rewind this and do it over again. That's fine. Like listen to this over and over again to get the steps right. But that's okay. That's at least you have that to go off of. This is a little weird in between here, so it's not quite green, but it's kind of like a weird olive green. It's kind of like a purplish. There we go. Okay, so that's one way you can do it as far as getting, a perfect 12-step color wheel. That's how you can kind of go forward with that. Okay, so I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to delete this artboard because I'm going to show you a really cool thing that will save you time. I'm going to delete this artboard, this second one. Zoom out. Now that we have this ready to go, and let's center, make sure it's centered on here. It's how we like it. We're going to save it. I'm just going to duplicate this one 4 times because you need 4 color wheels to show for assignment 1. So I'm just going to drag this down and make a copy and make sure I have 4 of them. So it'll look like that. Perfect. So once you're done with this one, the first one on the artboard, all you need to do is duplicate it. Just pull that down, that first artboard down to this little document icon that says new artboard, and it'll give you duplicates that are exactly the same. Okay, per the instructions, you need to place in the name of each color scheme. So you need to have the wording here. So you need to show complementary. So I would take the type tool, change maybe this to black, and maybe put something in here, complementary. Make it big so you can see. You can change the typeface, or whatever the typeface, the font. Go with this one. Okay. I'll drag this over so we have duplicates, and then we'll name this one. And this is all in your project details. Triadic. This one would be analogous. And this one would be split complementary. This one might be a little big. We can do two, oops. Two lines here. Okay, so that's kind of how you have to have it. You don't have to have it in the middle, but somewhere indicating which one is being shown here. And this is as simple as showing a signifier very simply so that the person looking at this will understand what each of these color schemes are. So complementary would be opposite of the color wheel. So it would be, as an example, and you only have to show one example. I'm going to do a little circle, and I'm going to make this white. And I'm going to put this in the middle of this circle. And then I'm going to do an alt drag over here. So this is indicating that these two colors are complementary. They're opposite of the color wheel. So as simple as that. Then your triadic. You want to alt drag this over. You can do a triadic one example. Analogous. Split complementary. So this would be like that, okay? So it could be as simple as that. Just keep it simple. You can even do something really cool if you wanted to change the background color, although I wouldn't get too fancy because you don't want it to get in the way of the information, but let's change this maybe to black. Background all to black. But be as creative as possible. Just make sure that the information is easy to read and understand. You're not going too crazy with the aesthetics where it's getting in the way of the information being shown here. I guess that's key. I've had students that kind of went crazy, and it's like, I don't understand what's going on here. Like, there's just too much going on that I don't even see what this is like. What's the point of this? If I can't visually see what you're trying to communicate, that's when we run into problems. So make sure it's not getting in the way of the information, the aesthetic. But you can definitely be creative with this. I've had students do all kinds of different things, not just circles. Maybe they do butterflies or something that's repeated across. So you definitely can have some fun with this. just make sure that you're showing visually each example in a way that's understandable and easy to understand visually. Because that's what we are, we're visual communicators. Okay, so once you're done with this, you're going to save this as your AI file and keep that. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna do a save as PDF, all your artboards, and click save. You can save it in Illustrator, smallest file, whatever you wanna do. And then your 4-page PDF, the 1-file PDF will be submitted for your project for assignment 1. Any questions about that? Nope. All right. So let me show you some examples from, I have some past student work so you can at least see what other people have done, and maybe that'll inspire you for your project here. Hold on one second. Grab all my stuff's kind of in the way here. Looks like I just have one example maybe. But that's okay. It'll be good to see at least somebody else's example. I don't know why this is. So big here, hold on. Like blowing it up 200%. Okay. I have all kinds of things popping up here. All right, so if you can see this, you can see that it looks a little different than what I did, but this is a student example and one to show you that you can do a pretty traditional color wheel, and then the signifiers are very simple, almost similar to what I did, only showing the line outline here. And these signifiers aren't quite right on each one of these. They're just kind of on all of them. So you'll need to, this person needs to kind of rotate it based on each color scheme. So that's the only issue there with this one. I'm not quite sure why the student just showed. So split complementary, obviously this would be split analogous. You would show the line going through each of these on the colors that are next to each other, and the color wheel, triadic and complementary. But at least you can visually see how this was kind of, I don't know if you guys are seeing this, can see how they kind of approached it visually. I don't know why I don't have any other examples to show you guys, but that's it. That's all I have. But it's pretty straightforward, so I don't think it's that hard. All right, since you don't have any questions, let's go ahead and before we get into the assessment demo, I did want to discuss what the discussion 1 is going to be about here. So let's go back, because we did not touch upon that yet. Don't forget to do your intro post as well. Okay, so week 1, discussion 1. Let's take a look at that, see if you have any questions. We're going to talk about color palettes and meanings. You guys can read through all of this and watch this video. I'm not going to read through all that. I'm going to go straight to the prompt here. And then if you have any questions, let me know. So for this discussion, imagine that you're helping a client choose colors for a poster. The client is a theater group, and the poster is advertising plays for the upcoming fall season. The first play is a simplified short version of The Wizard of Oz that will be performed during the day for children 4 to 12 years old. The second play is a holiday comedy based on how the Grinch stole Christmas for the entire family. The third play is Thou M for Murder, a classic thriller mystery for adults. The theater's director's daughter loves painting and drawing and has come up with a palette of colors for each play. The theater director is so proud and happy about them and asks you what you think. Do they work? Do any of them need to change? If so, why? So you have each themed color scheme here showing for each of the plays. So go ahead and take a look at that. So for your post, you're going to choose one of the play palettes defined above. If you're not familiar with any of the plays, you can do a search for them to find out what they're all about. Talk about the emotions suggested by the colors selected and whether or not they are in line with the play they represent, and share at least one resource that helped you define your thoughts and opinions. Don't go for the obvious. Pushing and reaching into people's emotions require a well thought out color scheme. For example, choosing red and green for the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, while it does say Christmas, doesn't instill the mood of the storyline. So for your citation, you might use articles that describe the emotional or psychological effects of colors. You can also find articles from experts that suggest how one goes about creating a cohesive color palette for a project. And your initial and reply posts should work to develop a group understanding of this topic. Challenge each other, build on each other, always be respectful, but discuss and figure it out together. Okay, so you're going to choose one of these palettes above based on, maybe you're more familiar with the Grinch or, Wizard of Oz, you want to kind of use that one. And then you're going to talk about, whether you believe that these colors work. Do they work? What works about them? Maybe they don't work. Maybe some of them need to change. Talk about the emotional side of it, the psychological part of it. Think about the actual movie itself, the play. Pull out facts and explain in your own verbal words, like why you believe these work or may not work. You may pull out one color and say, I would replace this with another color because I think that would work better. Or you may like all of them and kind of explain why you believe that works. Okay, so the whole idea is just kind of digging in a little deeper into the emotional and psychological part of colors and how they evoke emotions based on the plays that you have here, the actual concept of the plays, what they're all about, the meaning behind what they're all about, and visually communicating that through color. Yep, you pick only one play. So it says choose one. Pull in some, you can find a cover of the movie somewhere, a poster, whatever you can find to support your perspective. I would read through this background and watch this video too. That might help kind of get you started with this because I kind of skipped over that. But I don't want to sit here and like word for word, read it off to you guys. So any other questions? Pretty self-explanatory. Okay. All right, so let's go forward. We just discussed the assignment one, discussion one. Let's take a look at your assessment here and see if you have any questions. This is worth 50 points. And again, I'm not going to go through all of the background, but this is one that you're actually going to identify and show the different color schemes. The prompt I'll read. So for this assessment, have some fun creating an abstract geometric composition using just shapes. Draw circles, squares, triangles, organic shapes, or any combination of them. Employ the principles of design, contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity to ensure the sound design choices. So avoid strokes around your shapes and do not go for something recognizable. The more abstract, the better. Once you have the composition complete, duplicate it to 3 total artboards. Color each composition with the following color schemes: analogous, complementary, and monochromatic. In Illustrator, you're going to create 3 artboards that are 8 inches by 8 inches. You're going to utilize an analogous color scheme for one composition. You may use tints and tones of the colors for this composition. Utilize a complementary color scheme for one composition. You may use tints and whatever, it's the same wording there. Consider mixing your two main colors to see what sort of neutral they create and then tinting that down. The third one, utilize a monochromatic color scheme for one composition. For this one, utilize the blending techniques that you employed from the tertiary colors in the assignment for this week. Mixing your base color with black shade white tint, 50% gray tone, and saving the steps in between. Then you're going to submit the actual PDF with your 3 total pages and name it as such. Save your native file for further revisions if need be. You have any questions about that before I go forward here? And I'll actually show you the example that I have. Okay. I actually have a few examples to show you here so you get an idea, and then I'll show you another way to find the color schemes easily in Illustrator. Okay, so this is an example of some student work that was turned in for this assessment. And this is a PDF. Here's analogous, very simple, colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, complementary, monochromatic. There's another one, analogous, complementary. I would take the strokes off of the stars, the black stroke, and monochromatic. Analogous, complementary, split complementary. Okay, so with that being said, let's go. I'm going to open up Illustrator again. Let's take a look here. Back into the screen. So we're going to do File New, and we're going to do 8 inches by 8 inches. It might be up here. Let's see, no. So we have to type 8 by 8. And I'm going to create 3 artboards right now. They're all going to be different, so it's okay if you create them now. You can edit these artboards. Say if you don't like it how it's arranged here, you can go up to your artboards. Make sure your artboards palette is up. Go to the right corner. Oh, not to that one. Let me get rid of these so I can actually see. Not to that one because that closes it. Up to the upper right-hand corner to drop down and say rearrange artboards. And we could do grid by columns. You could do 2 rows. You could do all vertical. So you can kind of, arrange them whichever way you want to. Okay, so let's actually point out the color scheme words here. So we can have that set up. And this is kind of this is fun, I think. Fun project. You're playing around with the tools in Illustrator. Analogous. I type. I guess we could have duplicated the wording here so at least have them in the same spot before we actually made the artboards, but okay. And then the next one is complementary. And then the next one's monochromatic. Okay. You can go ahead and save it. As your AI file, so you don't use it. You can go back and change it if you need to. Okay, so I'm going to go back to analogous. That's the colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. Now, there is a way to, let's see here, where's my color libraries? We want to do, give me 1 second here. We want to do color guide. So go up to Window, Color Guide. This is a handy little dandy tool. So this is where you're going to pick the color that you want to start out with. So monochromatic, let's pick a color. Let's double click on this fill here. And I'm going to start with, let's do like a hot pink. And once you fill that with the hot pink, that's your main color, you can click on this drop-down menu and choose what you believe is monochromatic, which says monochromatic, monochromatic 2. You can choose that theme, and it's going to give you the monochromatic tones. Oh, I'm sorry, we're analogous, not monochromatic. Analogous of that color that you chose. But it's also going to give you tints and shades, so it's added white and added black. So it's up to you if you want to, grab whatever colors. But this is basically all the colors you can choose from. So it's an easy way to create your color schemes. Okay, I'm going to choose my ellipse tool, and I wanted to show you something really cool with this that you can kind of try. Under the escape key on your keyboard, so look at the escape key, there's like a little, and I don't know if I can draw the actual thing here. It looks like that, okay? That is the symbol that you want to hold down. It's under your escape key. And this is just something that I want to show you and try and have you try. You can take any type of shape. I'm just going to do the ellipse tool. I'm going to hold down that key that looks like that under the escape key, and I'm going to pull out my shape. I'm going to change my fill to stroke so you can kind of see what happens. So this is kind of a neat way to maybe do some really neat line art for this. You can also do stars, and you can twist them in the pattern depending on how you move your mouse or your trackpad. Oops. So you're holding down that button that I just showed you to create this really cool shape here. I'm going to try to keep this a little simple here. So you could use something like this to show your color scheme. You would just let me undo this. What you would do, oops, okay, this is weird. I'm holding down this key and it's not, there we go. You do something very simple. I'm losing all my stuff here because I'm hitting the wrong thing. Like a cone like this, and just go up to object. Oh yeah, you might not even need to regroup it. Okay, so you don't even need to like ungroup it. It's all individual lines here. So just take your selector and select certain parts of this. Go to your color guide, choose your color theme. So I think I lost that from my color theme before. Go up to analogous, that looks good. And you can change it to that color theme. So the lines would just change to represent that part of the color scheme here. Let's do really light pink. There we go. So that would be a really cool way to show that in a very abstract way. Okay, you can play around with that. Complementary, maybe you try the square tool. Do the same effect, but just different. Different way to see it. I would change this to complementary. I would change my fill too. So let's change the fill and let's choose maybe this time like a blue. And let's choose complementary. And then we can obviously change this to reflect that. And I would obviously choose the complementary color to show here. So just kind of like something to play around with. That looks kind of interesting. Monochromatic. Let's choose a monochromatic color here. Let's try green, maybe. Dark green. And let's do a star. Using that same technique. And then maybe parts of this are darker. Parts of this are lighter. Kind of play around with it. But that's monochromatic. It's using the monochromatic tints and shades of that color. Probably move all this down a little bit though. But you don't have to use this technique. You can, so that's my examples here. You could do whatever you want. Completely up to you. But this is kind of visually interesting, I think, in a different way. Let's make this a little bit bigger here. Make it come off of the side. Okay. When you're done, file save. And then you're going to save as a PDF. All of your artboards. Just to make sure that whatever you do, it's abstract. It's not something that's a known object or symbol. This star is, you know, it's a symbol, but it's more abstract too. It's a simple thing. Okay, so here's the PDF that I just made. I'm going to open that up. Make sure you open up your PDFs. Sometimes we get in the habit of just quickly, you know, sending the file without actually reviewing our work. So go ahead and open up the PDF and scroll through and make sure everything looks good. Okay. So have fun with it. See what you can come up with. I think there's so many different ways that you know, styles and looks and things that you can do with this that are fun. Here's some neat little abstract here. So it's up to you if you know, what kind of, this is your, you can play around with this and have fun with it. As long as you're kind of meeting these specifications, you're good to go. Any questions? Pretty straightforward there, hopefully clear. If you do have any questions, if you're listening to this recording too and you have questions, just go ahead and shoot me an email. I'd rather have, yeah, it's pretty easy. It's a pretty easy week, so you guys can get established in this class. But if you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, I will be here for section 1. Check your live session area for what section you're in. If you need extra help, I will be in there specified on the multi-session days and times in the live session area. Okay. All right. So I think that's it. I think we're at the end of our lecture. If if there's any other things that you want to go over, let me know, but we'll end it a little bit early if not, and you guys can get started with your projects. All right, awesome. All right, don't forget to put your intro in the discussion forum. Don't forget to start your discussions for this week. Don't forget to do your daily checkpoint every day. And, just start your projects early so you can get it done and out of the way. All right, so I'll be seeing you guys in the discussion forum, and let me know if you have any questions. And I will be talking to you guys soon. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.